Travel Vlogger Diary. Who is Travel Vlogger Diary? So here goes. I'm Zaira Kamalin. I'm not an extraordinary being, but I am an ordinary girl, a woman, who chooses to take one day at a time, making one more extraordinary decision to jump, fly, and do my happy dance while pursuing adventures, things that I love, or interview people who inspire me. And I use this genre to share all these fabulous experiences. And yes, people, yes, we will get hurt, but we're not alone. I experience adversities and challenges. My gosh, when I get to the edge, my brain tells me to step back. My response? I am safe. Go live. I believe we're not supposed to tuck our dreams in bed when we get up, right? Of course not. So now we got all that motivational intro stuff out of the way, completely out of the way. I'm here to announce that I'm so super excited, and I had to share this phenomenal opportunity. Wait for it. Listen, everyone has a story, right? And as life has it, I was blessed to have crossed paths with an awe-inspiring being who is the voice of Northampton from the UK, United Kingdom. Morris Lothian, better known as Morris the Connector. So Morris really inspired me because he transformed his life from being a former drug dealer who also spent some time in prison, to now an author, a boxing champion, a life coach, and a successful executive chauffeur entrepreneur who, by the way, chauffeured the top Hollywood celebrities. Let me just mention a few. Whitney Houston, Justin Bieber, and who doesn't know Beyoncé? You know, Morris, welcome to Travel Vlogger Diary. I'm honored and I'm humbled to have you live with us via Zoom. So, your story is absolutely remarkable. How did you do it? What was the breakthrough moment?
Life is a journey, and I believe when we're born, we're dying, but we're finding ourselves on the way. And it took me baby steps to get where I am now. I'm 5 other siblings in a household of just my mum, because my dad left my mum when I was 7 years old. So I grew up, fast forward to when I was about 15. It's like we never had much, you know, we never even had Christmas presents or birthday presents. My mum couldn't afford it. But one thing she always displayed is love and taught us manners and respect and everything like that. But when I was 15, my teacher once said I would be nothing in life. But I didn't even, back then many people asked me, how did you feel? I didn't feel no way, because the person I was, it was like I didn't care. And when you grow up, you're mucking about and that, you just think of having fun. So I left school at 15, 16 and left school, tried to get a couple of jobs, but had trouble getting jobs because in London at that time, you know, there was prejudice and everything that was going on. So that caught up with my life. So in the end, I decided with some friends to buy some drugs to sell. You know, they say money is the root of all evil, but I believe it's not that. It's the love of money. And I wanted money. I never had money in my life. And I wanted money. So I started to sell drugs and I started to make a lot of money, and I started to enjoy that lifestyle so much. And that was going on for 12 years. And in between that, I went to jail. I went to prison. But still, when I came out, I still continued doing what I was doing, thinking, yes, I do want to come out of this, but what do I do? Going back to what you said, what was the breaking point in my life? It takes something to break people sometimes, more than some. And what broke me was, I had 4 kids at that time, but one of my sons passed away, called Dwayne. He was 18 months old. He had an accident at home, and that shook me to the bone, because the thing about it, I never even got to know him. I was outside partying and going to the clubs, selling drugs, being the gangster, and not paying attention to the kids really, just thinking of myself. And I must have hugged him about 10 times. So when that happened, it made me think. It brought me to the ground of where I felt like committing suicide. The thoughts was going through my mind and everything. And here's me, my mum was saying, come to church. Many times she said to come to church, and I would say, Mum, listen, I ain't got enough time for that. I've got other things to do, you know? But this time she said, come to church. And I had time. I no longer wanted to be with my friends and the gangsters and everyone like that. I went to church and it was strange to me because everybody's clapping and happy, and I was looking around thinking, what's going on here? These people are so happy. So I started to clap too. And I sort of got in that vibe and started to get a feeling come over me like, yes, this feels good to me. And I started to go to church regular. When I left there, basically my life changed because I started to want to do different things. I didn't want to go out on the streets hustling and going to the club.
Morris, hold there for me. There's this little bit of something that I need to know. I'm sorry to break your word, but how did you get from there to here? How did you get to shoot with these people? How did you get to where you are?
Going forward now, it's like my life started to change. I started to take baby steps, like save enough money to open like a market store with my girlfriend. From a market store, it led to doing some courier stuff. From that, it led to us having a shop. She was running the shop and I was doing the couriering. Then from that, it led to me doing driving and she was still running the shop. From the executive driving, I met a man there called Steve. All the other drivers used to drive him, and then I started to drive him sometimes, and we sort of connected. And one day he said to me, after about him every now and again, he said, Morris, you're more than a driver. And when I look back now, that man knew me more than I knew myself, because he could see in me something like what I'm doing now. But at that time, I couldn't see what he was talking about. I said, oh, thank you. He wanted me to drive for him, leave the company, drive for him. I started to drive for him. It was a bit of Eddie Murphy stuff really, because here I was doing executive driving people like him. He was a hedge fund manager, driving to Goldman & Sachs and Merrill Lynch and Lehman Brothers and all these top banks, where I used to drop the clients outside. And here I was inside with him because he wanted me to come in and be around him. So that opened my eyes up to business. He was opening a company for himself, and he said, Morris, what about you opening a company to cater for my staff? I said, yes, that's a good idea, Steve. So I opened a company with a partner. Bear in mind, I came from the street as a gangster and no qualifications. So I recruited one of my friends. I said, do you want to open the business side by side with me? Because you could do the administration. I'm the connector. You know what I mean? I get along with people. I can get the clients, you see. So he done the administration. So that company was built up until in 2007, we moved to the City of London, from a little office into the City of London. But what I've got to say, we can't stop what's going to happen, because on the way, I lost my sister. She was 48 years old in 2007. I lost my mum in 2010. I lost my dad in 2011. In 2015, I lost my girlfriend of 35 years. She left 2 kids. She passed away. And then in 2018, another son passed away. He was 34 years old. But how did I navigate myself through that? It was my belief in God now, in knowing that He had brought me this far. So He knew what He was doing. I believed that it was for a reason. I had to carry on with my life. So going from there, I started to drive now Whitney Houston, Justin Bieber, all them sort of celebrities now. Do you know what I mean? So from there, it progressed to one day I was asked to give a speech about my business. And I went to an event where I was speaking in front of 100 people, because I've never done a speech in my life. And here I was talking to 100 people. And after that, they said, that was very inspiring, when I told them a bit of my story. And then it was after that, the next day, a teacher phoned me and said, Morris, would you mind coming and telling us a bit more of your story to the kids that are going through their GCSEs? And I went and done that. And after I'd done that, I started to get called to go to schools and give talks. And then I started to do motivational speaking. I realized that God had given me my pain for my gain. Do you understand? So the pain I went through, I realized that was for a reason. So then it brought me to this point where I used to say, why me? But now I say, try me.
If you can give us one powerful piece of advice.
Whatever you love doing, or find a progressive idea that you love. And if you stick to it, you will get there, because you either win or you learn. You understand? So long as you stay disciplined and committed, and that's what I did. Anything that's worth doing is worth doing badly until you get there.
I thank you.
It's a pleasure from me to you, London to South Africa. One quote from Muhammad Ali. He was one of my heroes growing up. I hope it resonates with all of you. The service we give here is the rent we pay for being in this world.
Thank you, Morris.
Very much for having me. Thank you for having me.